Hi everybody, so this video is going to cover how to calculate the volume of 3D solids. So the learning goal is just to calculate the volume of various 3D solids when given certain dimensions. So volume you can think of as a three-dimensional space inside of an object, like inside of this can here, or that an object takes up in a room. So it's basically like a three-dimensional space. Okay, and now we can calculate the volume of 3D solids if we know the formula and we know certain dimensions. Okay, so if you need a formula sheet, there's you can just put that in on your browser and you have a really handy one. So let's just go ahead and calculate the volume of this pyramid. So the first thing that you would need to do is write down the formula. So the formula for the volume of a pyramid is that b squared h divided by 3. Now, B stands for the base, which is in this case is 35. Okay, and B is the same all the way around because it's a square on the bottom, and the height is 21. So this is B, and this is H. So we're just going to go ahead and replace the letter B here with the number 35. Okay, square, because the square is it's b squared, and then h is 21, and then divided by 3. Now remember, 35 squared means 35 times 35, so we can go ahead and do that on our calculator. We can actually do the whole thing on our calculator. So we're going to do 35 times 35 times 21 divided by 3. Okay, and we get 8,575 meters cubed, or cubic meters. All right, so it's write down the formula, replace the variables with the correct values from the diagram, and then simplify with a calculator. Let's do a question with a different shape, and now we've got a measurement with a decimal. So we're going to calculate the volume of this sphere. So the volume of a sphere is 4 times pi times the radius cubed divided by 3. So this measurement here isn't actually the radius. Now remember, the radius is from the middle to the edge. Here we have the diameter, which is from one edge to the other, okay, through the middle. So in order to find the radius here, we actually just have to find what half of that is. So we do 7.4 divided by 2, and you would get 3.7 centimeters here. So we have to do a little bit of extra work in the beginning. So the volume here is 4 times pi. Now you can either leave it as pi or you can replace it with 3.14. We can do that here. The radius is 3.7 cubed and then divided by 3. Okay, so we're just replacing again the variables or symbols with the correct values. So now all we need to do is just crunch that whole thing on our calculator. So we're going to bring back our calculator. We do 4 times 3.14 times 3.7. Now that means to do it 3 times. Okay? Times 3.7 again, times 3.7 again. Okay? And then we divide it by 3. So that's our answer. I'm going to round it to 212.1 centimeters cubed. So that would be the volume. Now, we did 3.7 to the power of 3, so we multiplied it 3 times. But a lot of calculators will have special buttons to do that. So if we do 4 times 3.14 times 3.7 on this particular button calculator, we have a cube button. So I can do 3.7, and then I can press that button to cube it, and then divide it by 3. Okay? So that saves us some button pushing. You can find a similar button on your calculator. Okay? Now, if you don't have one, actually, it's 3.7. There's usually something like this. There's a to the power of button. So you can do 3.7 to the power of 3. Okay? And then that would be 3.7 cubed. All right. So we've just found the volume of 2 shapes. Let's go over the success criteria. So we identify the solid, and then we write the formula. So notice that was the first thing that we did. And then we replace the variables with the values of the measurements. Or if you have pi, you can either leave pi if you're advanced, or you can round it to 3.14. And then we just follow order of operations, so bed mass. And we just use our calculator. Okay, that makes things a lot easier. So we have 2 shapes here. One is a little bit harder than the other. I would say the cone is harder. So I'd like you to choose which one you want to do. If you're feeling really good, you can do both. But if you're feeling like, oh, you're just starting to figure this out, try to find the volume of this toilet paper roll. But if you're feeling lucky, try to find the volume of this cone. Okay, so pause the video, give one a try. We'll take both up later in this video. So you can pause it now and give it a shot. All right, I'm hoping you tried it and paused the video. We're going to quickly take up the volumes of these two things. So we're just going to ignore the fact that this is empty. So we're going to find the volume of this, what kind of space the toilet paper roll takes up here. So this is a cylinder, so we do pi r squared times the height. So pi, we can round off to 3.14. The radius here is 8, so we're going to write 8 squared. And then the height is 15. Okay, we can't forget the square. Now all we need to do is we take out our calculator and we do 3.14 times 8 squared. There's a square button here, so we can do 8 squared, or we can do 8 times 8 times 15. And there we go, 3014.4 centimeters cubed. Let's try the next one. If you use it, this one should say 7, right? That's 7. So the problem here, oh, the diagram's all messed up. That's okay. The diameter of the cone is 7. So we have to find the radius, right? So if you're given the diameter, you have to half the radius. So 7 divided by 2 is 3.5 centimeters. Okay. So don't let that trick fool you. A lot of questions will have diameter when you actually need the radius. So the cone has a formula very similar to the cylinder, pi r squared h, but we divide it by 3. So pi is 3.14. The radius here is 3.5. The height of this cone is 12.2. Oops, I forgot the square. And then divided by 3. All right, now we're going to crunch the numbers here. So 3.14 times 3.5 squared times 12.2 divided by 3. And we have 156.4 centimeters cubed. All right. So again, a couple pointers. Make sure that you write the formula down. If you have to do a little bit of extra work, okay, you have to identify that you need the diameter. So you need the radius when you're given the diameter. And then just make sure that you keep the exponents and then push the right buttons on the calculator and you're good to go. So hopefully this video has cleared up how to find the volume of a 3D solid. Take care.